GM, 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 GM. So, trade of the day, BTC. Updating yesterday's move, in case you weren't on the live stream or checking trading analysis. But I've been talking now for probably the past 3 or 4 days about this value area move, which BTC completed yesterday. So we had Bitcoin forming a consolidation that was followed by a false breakout. Then we fell back inside the old value area high, and then price moved to the value area low. Nice trade. Took slightly longer than, not even than expected. I've back tested these, and like I said on a video the other day, from back testing and live trading of these, sometimes these take weeks, even on a 1 hour chart. It's rare. Usually it's just hours or days. But the market depends on how wide the value area is, the market can take its time to get wherever it wants to go. A really good example as well of just sticking with your original plan until it's invalidated. I mentioned a couple of times when we had this spike and this spike, I was saying that Bitcoin is testing, and even here, Bitcoin's trying this value area high, but until you start to see it close through 65k, it's not bullish. And it didn't break, the value area high, down it goes. And look at the value area low. Same thing in reverse. Tried to break it once, twice, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. How well is Bitcoin respecting that value area? Right? When you're in these mean reverting markets, which we're in now, this is also a very clear sign that we are not in a trend, because price is respecting value areas, which means it's moving from balance, or staying in balance and moving from value area high to value area low. I do not. Your first thought is probably, well, since this is holding, are you going to trade it back to the value area high? No. That, first of all, is not how my system works, because it's only about the first time it tries to break out and fails. The probabilities are much higher that you get a move from the high to the low. The other reason is much more simple. Bitcoin's actually in a downtrend here on the 1 hour, right? So it broke down, sideways correction, broke down, sideways correction. So to try and trade from the value area low to the value area high, you're actually going against the prevailing low time frame trend, which is not something you want to do. So what's the next trade? Well, there's 2 big levels below us. This March to July daily point of control, right? March to July daily POC and the value area low. So the red line and the black line, which when I zoom out, are these 2 levels here. The consolidation, point of control, which is the point of the highest volume traded, and then the value area low. So those areas are of interest if we get there, if and when. And I'll have my eyes on those as potential for setting up trades. On the upside, there's not a whole lot. I don't see any immediate breakout potential, as Bitcoin has kind of lost its trend, at least on the low time frames. It can build back into a trend quite easily. That's not a problem. You zoom out to a 4 hour. We're sort of struggling on the 4 hour bands. Put the 4 hour bands on. I think. Are they on? And the 4 hour bands, they're still holding. And there is a tendency, by the way, when you try to break below the bands the first time, you can get a move back above them. So this is far from bearish. Right, like I said on daily levels, this quiet consolidation is exactly what you want to see. Now, of course, it can go like this. We have this pull back and then it just collapses. But that one is different, at least so far, where you had a relatively small move up and within a day or two, you'd retraced almost all of it. This is different. We kind of grinded up, big impulse away. We're nowhere near that impulse candle yet. I think this market will hold up and get bought rather than sold. But on a lower time frame, what am I looking at? I'm looking at probably the untested New York Open from yesterday. So if I put back on my the way I traded this yesterday was after the New York Open, which was here, and the downwards momentum. I traded short on the momentum all the way down to the value area low. That move yesterday started off, if I go into a 1 minute chart and show you, that move started off because 1:30 p.m. UTC is the New York Open. There it is. 2 minutes of green, followed by an immediate reversal, failed attempt to rally, and failed attempt to rally. It was after those 2 failed attempts that I could see that they were just brief short squeezes. shorting around here on the break. Now, when you have a trend move all the way down, so the New York session just trended all the way down with no pullbacks, and then you move into more of a consolidative type of price action here, and you have that untested New York Open from yesterday above, I think there's a decent chance we go up and test there. That might be somewhere that you're looking to short, right? If we have a strong move up, an inefficient move up into that area going into the New York Open of today's session, you might get a nice short back down. Doesn't have to go to new lows, but if it moves all the way up, you might get a short back down just for that part, and then it goes into more of a consolidation. So for me, as a price action trader for today, I'm looking at this retest of the New York Open. That would be where I would have most interest. Otherwise, I would wait for today's session, right, today's New York session to begin, and see, do we get a continuation of yesterday? So yesterday we clearly had some committed sellers. There was pretty heavy selling all the way through the New York session. It starts over here again today. Wherever we start from, are we going to see something similar where this develops into a 2-day trend? Trends down, chops sideways, fails to go higher, trends down again in New York? Or are we going to see something different? So that'll be my view. Trade from here. You might say, like, well, is it worth getting long up into that? I don't see anything particularly compelling for that. I think the BTC is probably not even going to get there. I would suspect that it fails at this high here and is able to maybe squeeze out some of that and then just continues consolidating, or maybe even moves towards that point of control before then reversing and bouncing back inside. I wouldn't be surprised to see something like this, where it chops sideways. It can't quite get higher because there's plenty of sellers. It goes to new lows, takes out all of this, but it hits that point of control, reverses back inside, and most importantly, you finish the week, so the Friday close, you go into Saturday with the market actually in consolidation. Barring some kind of external catalyst, I don't really see a massive impulse or massive reason to be bullish or bearish today. I think it's going to be pretty quiet. I think it's going to be more consolidation. So that's it. That's what I'm thinking of today. GM. See you later on the live stream. 4 p.m. UTC. Casual Fridays. Let's go.